The Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts and one of your commissioners and one of your winners from this past week. My name's Frankie, and sitting across the internet from me is Cam. Cam, how are you doing on this Wednesday evening?
Well, you listed that you were, a winner, a podcast host, and a commissioner, and I'm 1 out of 3 of those, just like I'm 1 in 3 this season. So,
Oh no.
let's just say it's not been the best.
Yeah, hasn't been the best. But for me, I can't complain. I might have COVID, so there's that. So the Tennessee Titans might as well. Maybe some Patriots and some Chiefs. Hey, we'll see. We'll talk about that a bit. That's a real talk. Great. This is gonna go really well. Cam, I do want to say up top though. I do remember speaking. I think it was to you early in the season about a tweet from one CD Carter 13 on Twitter. You might have heard of him. He actually writes for Roto World now.
Oh, wow, never heard of that.
Yeah, well, it's really impressive. Big fantasy. And he either he tweeted or he had a reply to somebody who tweeted. Are we going to be needing to fade players in red states this season, in case they have because they have an increased chance of contracting big Rona? And well, it's been a long time since Tennessee's voted blue. That's all I'm saying.
That's some big facts right there.
Yeah. Alrighty. So yeah, thanks y'all for joining us. Episode 5 of season 3. My one note I want to get out of the way just at the top of the podcast is that Fab reimbursement did come to fruition last night. I made a decision to give Tyler an extra $200 in Fab for his unfortunate circumstance losing. What was it? He lost Saquon. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler is on Sleeper currently. It says he has $200 in Fab. I tried setting it to $278, and I just kept the cap to $200. So I'll track his Fab manually until it becomes under $200. He didn't spend anything today at all. But just so everybody knows, he does have that Fab to negotiate with, to use. So yeah.
To fill the gaping hole in his heart for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, a hole the size of his quads. It's quite large. Alrighty, let's get right into the waivers from this week, from yesterday. Some highly bid items today or this week. The highest being D'Ernest Johnston. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Who is the third string running back for the Cleveland Browns? Now the second string, maybe the first string if Kareem Hunt can play. With Nick Chubb out for a period of time. Went to Dylan for $46. Had 4 bids on him. Tyler, the second highest at 37, so only a slight overpay. A great acquisition for Dylan there. The rest of the bids in that 30 range, including UCAM at 29. And then the next highest bidders, we had 4 high bid ones. So let's go to the next one. Will be Chase Edmonds, the backup in Arizona, who went for 31 to Dylan. The next highest bid was Devin for 7. Bit of an overpay there, and he even cut Christian McCaffrey's backup, Curtis Samuel, to do that. Crazy move.
Backup running backs for backup running backs. What could be a more Dylan move? Let's go.
Right. And then Cam, I'll let you go ahead and talk about this next one, where you acquired Justin Jackson for $29 a Fab.
Yes, our leftist king, Justin Jackson. Honestly, I didn't think I'd get him for $29 a Fab, but I felt obligated to make a bid. And I sniped him away from Devin. Only bid $2 more than that idiot. So Devin, you really want him. I know you love Chargers running backs. Just hit me up with some trades, dude.
Ooh. Yeah, I was just saying earlier in the pre-show, that's probably the closest bid we've had when it comes to higher ticket things that aren't just $1 or $0. That went to you. So great job there. The next high bid item, the last high bid item, would be Tim Patrick to Devin, who did get one of his guys, overpaying by about $15 for that, but nothing too egregious. And yeah, I think there are 2 other big drops this week. One being Allen Robinson for Justin Herbert. which was, I guess, a mistake. Who knows what goes on in Jake's mind? It's an enigma to all of us, I think.
I mean, I think Jake should go on record, as we all know. We just watched the debate. You need to go on record and say Justin Herbert is a better football player than Allen Robinson and a better fantasy asset. Just like I'd like to hear
Yeah.
Jake say that.
Okay, I don't know if you're gonna get that. You probably could. You probably could. I don't know. It's like his two favorite players in the NFL currently. It seems like.
Yeah, but one of them is
there's
actually good,
Josh Allen too.
and one of them is garbage. So
Well, okay. Let's. Moving on. The next big drop would be Justin, who drops Le'Veon Bell, who he held on to through his 3 weeks of injury. 3.5 if you count the game he played in. And he could come back this week, and he decides to cut him just in time to pick up the Jets kicker, Sam Ficken.
Ficken,
Sure. Ficken? All right, well,
the kicking
sorry for the
Ficken.
kids. I say sorry for the kids on that one, but
Yeah,
that's
Justin
that's
needed that third string kicker on the worst team in the NFL. That makes sense.
Yeah. The only other thing of note I would say for this waiver is that Levi did pick up Zacchaeus, the receiver from Atlanta, who I probably should have bid on considering I'm a Russell Gage owner. But, I was so annoyed watching that game and seeing all the players go to Zacchaeus. But good for him, I guess. Quite a name he has on him. Olamide, Zacchaeus. That's
Mouthful.
that's something. That's a mouthful. That is for sure. Okay. We didn't have any trades this week. Thank the Lord for that. But let's get into some highlights of last week, and we'll start as always by talking about the matchup of the week, which didn't disappoint. It disappointed. I'm sorry, Devin. Devin. Oh man, I know I called you to lose, but so sad. The only thing I have to really say about this is poor Devin, and also Cam. In the marketplace of ideas, I definitely owned you when talking about Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb being a better combo than Russ and DK.
Look, I mean, the Dallas stack is it's pretty good right now. Can't deny that.
Is that all you have?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the Dallas is putting up a ton of fantasy points on their offense, and they're giving up a ton on their defense. They're a great team to have players on or playing against. That's a fun thing that we need to keep factoring in for all of our matchups that we're talking about. And then other notes from last week, Cam, I think you noted it in the sleeper chat that this was the third or so close call game you've been involved in out of 4 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been in the closest margin 3 out of the 4 weeks, and the 1 week that I wasn't, it was still only a 14-point game that came down to Monday Night Football. Let's just say it's been a stressful season.
Yeah, for you.
Uh-huh.
Sucks to be you.
No, it does not,
okay.
dude. I have a belt. Don't you forget it.
Okay. All right. And then my last note from last week is that Justin is now the last person who has still not reached the top 6 of scoring in any 1 week. I think he hit 7th once, but he's kind of averaging around that 8, 9, 10 range. Gonna need to see. I mean, we all know Justin and talking about how his draft went, and he talked shortly after about how even through the circumstances he still expects to beat expectations as he always seems to. So far, it's not gone quite to plan yet, but just something to keep our eyes on, I guess.
Look, he has more wins than Devin, so that's something to be proud of.
True. Yeah, that is true. That's a good note for him. His division's a little bit more open than the Alphas is too currently, so there has that to look forward to, I guess. Alrighty, let's get into this week, Cam. And there were 2 matchups. We didn't talk about this prior to the show, but there were 2 matchups I think were very clearly matchup of the week contenders. I ended up deciding to pick that the actual matchup of the week should be Jake versus Lassie. Cam, you'll get into the game that could also be considered right after. But we will start here with Jake versus Lassie, and we picked them for several reasons, one of which being that they're both 4-0 teams. Jake is currently the number 1 overall scorer in our league, and Lassie is not far behind in 3rd. I'll give you a while, I guess, who's 2nd. But let's go into some notes about their teams. Just right off the bat, just optics wise, look, Jake is projected for 144 points off rip. That's insane for our league. But it's not all shiny and roses for either of these teams. But we'll start with Jake here. Josh Allen, he's going to continue to ride that wave, or will he? I'm gonna be tracking something this week called the COVID Watch.
This is deadly stuff.
And Josh Allen is first up. And we got a couple others. We got both Tyreek Hill on that watch, along with Jonnu. So some of his assets who have been performing relatively well, very well for Jonnu. And slightly, Tyreek Hill hasn't quite been the explosive player he has been in years past this season, but can't complain with the wide receiver 7. Other things on Jake's team is that we talk about PPR scoring. I know mentioned that there's a large disparity between Amari's ranking in PPR versus standard. That's continuing this week and for the foreseeable future, considering we talk about that Dallas offense. But he's currently the standard wide receiver 9 and the wide receiver 1 overall in PPR formats. You look at the amount of targets he gets in a week, along with Allen Robinson, like they're both averaging in the 12 like the 11 to 12 range. Cooper might even be more. He is more. It's just like the production's insane. So they say F you to your bad matchups, where production is king, and they're just going to keep going with that. And then looking over to his running backs, let's have both Miles Sanders and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt I mentioned earlier, who might or might not be playing. I know he missed time today, or he's limited practice today. He probably will play. Although I think it's Indianapolis, not a great matchup. And an even worse matchup is Miles Sanders against the Pittsburgh D-line, who had an entire extra week to rest. I guess that's just what a bye week is, but it's really early to do that. I think they're going to come out angry, and we already saw what they did to bottle up Saquon in the opening game of the season. So limiting the upside there for sure on the running back department. Looking over to Lassie's side, here's the COVID watch again. Singletary, Derrick Henry, Edelman, the Pats defense. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but I might be, because there sure are a lot. Not great stuff from anywhere there. But on the good side, on the more positive side, Thielen looking to have another big week this week. He's limited in practice, but he'll probably be fine. He could really eat in Seattle. I know that Kirk Cousins is a somewhat popular streaming option this week for a reason. That Seattle secondary is been pretty easily diced up so far this season. And also, he has his own PPR king on his team, Keenan Allen, whose targets go 8, 10, 19, 11. I guess that's like a Mari range there. He only scored 10 points last week and 5 points the first week, but he's still the wide receiver 14 in PPR formats. That production is there for him.
Oh, yeah.
Other notes on Lassie's team, Zach Pascal is a sneaky snart this week. They could throw in at any point. Could be a little bit of a boom for him if he likes to. And my last note for him off rip is that he is starting Zach Ertz, who so far has been a disappointment. Hasn't been terrible, but hasn't been great. Currently, the tight end, 16 in PPR formats, full PPR formats. And he is playing against the Steelers, which it's just bad. This game is going to be so heavily affected by COVID. I don't even have any idea how I could call this game. But all things being equal, I think the favor is still just in Jake's corner. But I would not be shocked if Lassie takes this one.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say I have some experience this season of being projected to score a lot of points. And personal experience tells me that it does not turn out well. So Lassie right here, he's my upset of the week.
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Say it louder!
I'm upset.
Bam, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt versus that Indianapolis defense, bunch of savages. Allen Robinson versus that Tampa Bay defense, bunch of savages. Josh Allen not playing because Tennessee is incompetent and has COVID. Savages. It's not going to work out for my man.
Alrighty. Now let's get into the next matchup, which I knew you off rip, but wanted this to be matchup of the week, and I considered it heavily, but let's get into it.
Yes, the real matchup of the week. Devin, team name worst 0-4 team, versus JP, team name RBs don't have the meat. Both 0-4. So we will see if Devin truly lives up to his name here. and it's going to be an interesting one. We talked about Devin Russ and DK Metcalf stack not pulling through last week, but this week they go up against Minnesota, who has a secondary of toddlers sucking on their binkies out there. So DK is going to man all over them. Devin's now got Josh Kelly being lead dog for that Chargers backfield. Just going to destroy the New Orleans defense. He's finally got DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas both probably going to be healthy this week. Can they carry his team to victory? Probably. They're really good. But Devin's starting Tim Patrick, who admittedly was good last week, scored 20 points against the Jets. And this week he plays New England. I don't know about that one, Devin. You got Ayuk sitting on your bench, Renfro with possibly Ruggs and Johnson or Brian Edwards not playing anymore. Like, come on, man. That's a little too big brain for my taste.
Why is he rostering Cameron Brate too? That's insane.
OJ Howard died.
Yeah, but still.
If there's one thing I know about Devin, he loves his guys, and for some reason, Cam Brate is one of those guys. He still has Kerryon Johnson on his team. Come on.
That's crazy.
On the other side with JP, it's looking pretty rough. Both his running backs, Myles Gaskin and Rex Burkhead, already people you don't like, are playing against San Francisco and Denver, which are bad matchups. The only person that actually has been consistently good for JP's team, George Kittle, when he's healthy, playing in Miami, definitely going to be really good again. Patrick Mahomes versus Las Vegas. Las Vegas is one of the most run-funnely teams ever. So I don't know how Patrick Mahomes is even going to need to do this game. They're going to just roll. And Robbie Anderson's really good, so that's nice. But everywhere else, like I get Devin crap for starting Patrick, but he scored 20 points last week. JP starting Larry Fitzgerald. 1 second.
Yeah.
He has scored less than 20 points on the season. Brother, come on. You got, I guess Koo's injured, so maybe you can't kick or flex. You got Mark Ingram on your bench. Maybe he just hasn't set his lineup this year. Or this week. But, do something. Okay, yeah, so that's the real matchup of the week. JP's going to be the worst 0-4 team. Devin's going to have to change his team name, but it'll be fun to watch.
Oh, so you're picking Devin to win then?
Absolutely.
Sure. So Jake's going to be the worst. Well, Jake will be the worst 0-5 team and the only 0-5 team.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've heard of the cornered animal game, and you've heard of the roadkill game. Like, this is like the fossilized, or the mummified corpse game. I don't even know.
Dust in the wind game.
Yeah, wow. Alrighty, let's get into the next matchup we have up here, and it's going to be your matchup here, Cam. And sound the alarms. Guess what it is, Cam? It's the COVID watch. Here comes Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who'll probably be fine, but there's something to watch for that. General notes on your teams. You do have some good matchups all around here. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I do expect the Steelers to come out absolutely firing this week, including that's going to be a beneficiary for you for Big Ben and James Conner. I think they're going to have a lot of success against that Philadelphia team. You have some injury.
Frankie thinks the Steelers are going to be good this week? I'm shocked.
I do. I think they are furious they didn't get to play last week.
I thought the Lions would be good this season, man. Come on.
Okay, well, if any of their social medias are to be believed, I think that's the sentiment of the team.
Okay.
But moving on.
And pause. I'm sure y'all heard that. Somehow the sound went to mono all of a sudden. That's unfortunate. Right after this, Audacity crashed on my end. So I'll just do a quick fill-in here for some of the analysis I was going to do on Cam and Justin's team, and then we'll get right back into the show. So to be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure exactly what I said, but I do remember talking about Cam overall having good matchups for this week. I said talk about the Steelers coming out hungry, so that'll be a beneficiary to Ben and James Conner. I think my last note for Cam was that I expect this to finally be the first really big game for DJ Moore this season. DJ Moore has been a bit disappointing ADP wise, a player I didn't really believe in going into the season. I think this could be his first real big breakout game of the season. And so if I'm Cam, I'm looking out for that. And then on Justin's side of the ball here, Justin is actually super limited at running back this week. With Eckler out, the only other starting running back or any other running back he has on his roster is Elmat, who scored 2 touchdowns last week. So you could do worse. But it is crazy. I think we've talked about it in multiple group chats that Justin is having RB issues after drafting 5 in a row to start the season. But yeah, that stinks. He has Preston Williams in his lineup as well. And he is just not seeing the production this season that I think almost anyone was expecting, including myself. But he does have 2 very capable tight ends he could be starting this week in place for his flex. I think that'd be a really strong play for him if I was Justin. That's what I'd be looking for. Goff's looking for a slight bounce back week against Washington. I was really strong in weeks 2 and 3, not so much in 4, but week 5 is another great opportunity for him to put up some real points. I remember my last point on Justin being that my dude has 3 kickers on his roster, and he's not even kicker flexing. Justin, please. You're killing me, man. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get back to the show.
So who you got in this matchup, Frankie?
I'm gonna pick a winner in this matchup. It's gotta be you. It's not even. I don't think it's that close.
Yeah, it's a statistic that never lies. I am undefeated against teams that are currently 500 and under this season, so I'm gonna win. That's how it works. Sorry, Justin. Hate to tell you now. But now we move on to our next matchup, which is yourself, Frankie, playing against Levi. 2-2 teams trying to get in that over 500 category. On your side, first thing I have written down is there's a lot of gross matchups. With Matt Stafford on bye week this week, you currently have Baker Mayfield in your starting quarterback spot playing against Indiana.
That will likely change.
All right, well, right now it's gross. We'll see what happens. You have both your running backs playing against teams that are generally considered good defenses, probably not going to be shootout-y with the Chargers and the Rams. And then, when you look at your roster on weeks where you don't have either Kenny Golladay or Chris Godwin, it's just kind of depressing.
It's so sad.
Like Golden Tate, Devontae Parker, who I admittedly have no idea how he's been this season, but
He's
just
been good.
sad to hear. Will Fuller is hype and Cooper Kupp can be good, but none of them really seem to be in matchups that scream shootout besides maybe Golden Tate, but it's still Golden Tate. And then you still only have 3 running backs on your roster, and the third one is Benny Snell,
Yeah.
who,
So-
like,
You only start 2.
bye weeks exist, right, man?
Oh, come on. I'll get there when I get there.
And injuries?
Dude, you think that Alvin Kamara gets injured, save for all of last season.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And Antonio Gibson, who had 30 running back carries in college, can totally handle a full workload whole season.
So far, so
believe it.
good.
Yeah, but, your team's fine, I guess. Levi, on the other side, also has gross matchups. Joe Mixon exploded last week in the Bengals' first win of the season because Joe Mixon is the running back who is probably most correlated with how his team does in a game, correlates with his fantasy points. And this week he plays against Baltimore. I don't think the Bengals are going to win that one. So we'll see how that goes for him. And then he's got both running backs in the Thursday night extravaganza, Tampa Bay versus Chicago. That's going to be exciting. Ugh. And then he's also got his Dallas stack, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, in possibly the first game where Dallas won't get absolutely boat raced by their competition. The Giants have scored 3 touchdowns on the year. Yes, the year. That's the same as Robert Tonyan scored on Monday. So maybe the Cowboys won't have to throw 60 passes this game, and Dak will just be fine. And then with Julio Jones probably not playing, and Levi is forced to start Traquan Smith this week with Michael Thomas actually back. Yeesh. So my bold prediction is that this is going to be the lowest scoring matchup of the week. Yes, lower than the 2-0-4 teams, Devin and JP. And it'll be boring. I don't know.
That's fine with me. I'm tired of scoring so many points. I mean, just save some for the rest of them. You know what they say? Redistribute the point wealth. You know.
If you scored over 400 points on this season, you will have a point tax increase.
Oh, good idea. Alrighty. The next matchup we have here is going to be Logan versus Greg, which should be a high-flying matchup. We'll start over here with Logan's side. We're discussing this player in the pre-show a bit, but Kenyon Drake so far has not found the juice. All right, he's not been the player we thought he would be, say, for like week 1, I think. He did pretty well.
Did he try looking in Israel?
What?
Looking in Israel.
Okay, I gotcha. I don't think so.
Okay.
But if there's a week to do it, it's against Logan's Jets. So this is a good opportunity for him. Josh Jacobs, speaking of a player who's did well early in the season, hasn't done so hot recently, is looking to bounce back against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, who so far has yielded 5.3 yards per carry on average to the running backs they've faced this season. He hasn't played particularly great for fantasy the last 3 weeks, but he went up against New Orleans, New England, and Buffalo. I'm not going to fault him too harshly for those matchups not being great. But almost forgot about sounding the alarms, because he is also wee on COVID watch. So there's that. But going, my last note on Logan's side here, besides for Juju angry game. Oh yeah, and that Darren Waller is also on COVID watch this week. His pair of Jacksonville Jaguars, DJ Chark looking to come back to continue his splashback performance from last week. And then James Robinson, who is currently the running back 6 in PPR and 5 in standard. He's been great so far, and I don't see that stopping anytime really soon. So that's a great upside for Logan there. And then on Greg's side here, we'll start off talking about Dalvin Cook, who has a bad draw this week against the Seattle front. But I don't think Dalvin Cook particularly cares, so I don't think I care either. Looking at other players he's starting, though, especially when you look into his flex positions, he is starting both Sammy Watkins and Cobb, who are both super boom bust, which is not great. Kelsey has been performing to expectations so far this season, although, COVID watch. So watch out for that as well. Other players going to probably do well this week is going to be our friend David Johnson, who's looking to eat against Jacksonville in this matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how the game script goes for those players on these opposing teams. Lockett should also have another great week against Minnesota. Looking to have a bit of a bounce back as well. Overall, I'm seeing a lot of upside, and I think this both teams are both projected for in the 130s. I'm thinking I'm probably going to give the upside tick. Maybe I'm going to pick Logan in this one, but it's 51-49. It's really close. I'm going to call this one as probably being the highest scoring matchup of the week.
All right, yeah, I can understand that. My call, though, if Raheem Mostert plays and is healthy, Greg starts him, Greg's going to win.
Yeah, that's a great call.
And then we move on to our final matchup this week. The last, but certainly not least, Dylan versus Tyler Walker. Right now, Dylan is finally not finally. he is now going to continue living a Chubbless life, which he has felt ever since COVID started and he was single, but now transferring to his fantasy
Oh
team.
my god. Came for his throat.
But not all is so bleak because Zeke, like I said, the Giants might not be able to keep up with Dallas this game, so Zeke could finally be fed and just drain clock out for them, which would bode very well for Dylan's prospects. And he's got Mike Evans, who performs always very well with Chris Godwin out, but Chicago is a tough team to go against. Otherwise, though, it's not a lot of good stuff. Like Logan Thomas has been disappointing this year. Odo Beckham's playing Indianapolis, who is very good at defense, and he's starting Chase Edmonds, who I guess, they might be winning by so much they use him as a running back, but eesh. Dylan's got to hope for the stack of Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson going up against that Seattle secondary to just go off. And if there's ever a team to hope for that to go off and hit, it is definitely going up against Seattle, so that's not a bad thing to root for. On the other side, though, we got Tyler. He's got Mike Davis going up against the Atlanta defense, who just let Green Bay's running backs literally walk around free against them. So that's probably going to be very good for him. But one thing Tyler's doing is he's still starting T.Y. Hilton, who has not had a good game in approximately my lifetime. So Tyler, my dude, you got the glasses, Hot Rod, Rodrigo Blankenship locked in at kicker 1. Put Will Lutz in at kicker 2, man. Kick T.Y. to the bench where he belongs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the primo move, I'm telling you. But, Tyler's got some good stuff otherwise. Tyler Boyd's very good. Jerry Jeudy is very good at catching long passes. And, if he didn't have an awful quarterback, would be excellent. So I like what's going on with Tyler on this week. Should be good.
Yeah, I like Tyler too. If his players play, we'll see about Ridley, Carson, and Jackson. But yeah,
The week is young. They'll be fine.
yeah, we can hope. No, I don't think there's any COVID watch for any of them though. So good news for that, I guess.
So far, the week is young. as
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah. All right. And that was our preview of this upcoming week. We don't have any mailbag questions this week. We do have a live audience member though. Jake, did you have any questions for the panel?
Jake asked why his team is the best, and it currently is because Nick Chubb got injured, so Kareem Hunt will be excellent. But he also has not had a single person injured besides Deontay Johnson, so just wait, Jake. The regression, not just coming in touchdowns. It's coming in hamstrings, Achilles. Just you wait.
Alrighty. And that was our episode. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Anyone But Cam Baseball Podcast. I have been Frankie.
Cam over here.
And we will catch you all next week. Hopefully a less COVID-induced podcast. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Peace.